going to tell you a story today that started off as a simple impulse purchase and ended with an escalation of kit and expense, but to a very noble goal, which is to create 3D using Super 8. I wouldn't be the first one who's done it. I might be the last, but it started off when over a year ago I found this in a junk shop in Hastings. This is a double camera shutter release cable. You push the plunger down and out the end comes two little rods, which of course go into your camera and tell it to start and stop two Super 8 cameras at the same time. Because that's what it's going to take to get stereo imaging. You need two cameras simulating the left and the right eyes. You put one camera on the left, one camera on the right, you start filming at the same time, you stop them at the same time, and then you assemble the two pictures into a stereoscopic image. Now, I know you can get lenses which will create a left and right image and it will put them side by side, or in some cases overlay them. I'm not going down that route. The lenses are extremely expensive, and because you're cramming two images worth onto one frame, your picture is going to be half as detailed. Effectively, when you're shooting Super 8 side by side with two cameras, you'll have a 16mm wide image to put lots of information on. So it's going to look better, and you're not going to have to get any fancy lenses. The expenses will come further down the line. So now everything is doubled. I've got the double release cable. I'm going to need double cameras. This is where you are well advised to get two identical cameras to do this kind of thing. Luckily, I have two identical Canon 814AZ Super 8 cameras. This is how the release cable triggers both those cameras at the same time. Very satisfying. Now, of course, with two cameras, I'm going to have to get two rolls of Super 8. And I used this 200T because it's quite versatile. So, ka-ching, ka-ching, had to pay for two rolls of Super 8. Now, of course, those cameras are going to have to go beside each other. And luckily, because I've done this kind of thing on video before, I had a T-bar which you attach to the top of the tripod, and it gives you two thread screws to put your cameras on side by side. And the distance between the cameras can be adjusted as well. So great. I have my T-bar on top of my tripod. I have my double shutter release cable. I have my two cameras. I have my film. And this is what it all looks like when it's all set up together. Comparisons have been made to the number 5 robot in Short Circuit. I saw it when I was about 10 years old or something. It is basically the same deal as the Short Circuit robot in that it has two cameras side by side to give it stereoscopic vision and depth perception. So I did some tests in the garden. I did some filming indoors, outdoors, and then I hooked up with a bunch of like-minded, i.e. equally crazy Super 8 enthusiasts, and we all went and shot stuff in Sydenham Park. I'm showing you here just on one of the cameras, but of course I shot with two cameras, and I had to put those side by side and sync them up, which wasn't easy because one of these cameras started filming about a frame before the other, which meant that I had to go through all the footage and synchronize everything by hand, which was a big party. And finally, I put the two images synchronized, color corrected, and side by side. And this is what you got. Now, in order to watch this, you're going to need one of these, which is a stereoscopic VR vision viewer. Now, these look expensive, but they're really not. This was £2.50 in an Oxfam shop. They're basically just plastic mobile phone holders with lenses in front. So the idea is you play the video full screen on the phone and put the phone into the back of the viewer like this. If you don't want to get that and you want instant gratification, you want to see what this stuff looks like, there's two different ways of resolving an image like this. One of them gives you a headache. The best way to do it is to practice something called parallel viewing, where you kind of uncross your eyes and look straight through the picture to a point behind it. If you cross your eyes, you're going to have a bad time. I am in no way responsible for headaches, crossed vision, or any other maladies you might get. Maybe motion sickness is the other thing that could happen when you watch this stuff. Anyway, after I shot these 2 rolls, I then did something which I don't do very often. In fact, haven't done it for years, which is I then sent it off to be developed and scanned by a lab. Now, I do all this stuff in-house, but it was really important to get very, very clean images out of this, and even the slightest bit of blotch on either side that would have ruined the 3D effect. So I actually stumped up for that. So that was like 80 quid to get it developed and scanned for each. So that's 160 for both of those rolls of Super 8, plus tenner for the plunger and the release cable, and 250 for the viewer. If you don't have your own T-bar, that'll be more money, I guess. You know, we're looking at almost 200 quid now for 3.5 minutes of 3D Super 8. And I didn't go into this lightly, but I didn't realize it was going to cost that much, but I just had to get on with it, didn't I? No point backing out at this point. Anyway, I've talked enough. Here's the 3D stereoscopic Super 8 images. Hope you enjoy them. Hope you don't get a headache. Tune in next time. I swear we'll go back to 2D, as has most of Hollywood. I'm glad to see. Bye now. I'm just going to interrupt this for a second and describe what's going on in this picture. Those numbers you see in the picture are the number of meters away from the camera. I set the cameras up so they converge on the 2 meter point, and everything in front of that is supposed to be sticking out, and everything behind it is supposed to be going back into the depth of the picture, which is interesting.